Hello everyone. Before I start to talk about the things I want to talk about, I want to ask you what you need for this moment. Because the whole day you've been listening to people, that means people sending out to you. The question for me is more important, what would you like to know? So I can connect with that. Otherwise I'm going to tell a story which might be not really interesting for you. So I'm really interested in what would you like to know. If this is about your body, about trauma, and about personal development, because that's the reason why I'm here.
Don't be shy, yes, speak it out.
Please, speak it out. Yes, what is your name?
Christina from Switzerland.
Christina, welcome from Switzerland.
Thank you. I would like to know it a bit more further now. When you are an adoptive child, now adult, you
We
get
call this
children.
adoptees.
Yes, adoptees.
Yes, just try to get rid of the child thing.
Yeah, but when you have your own child or children, and I think that your trauma can also be affected to your biological child. How much is it true?
Good question, though.
Good.
It's a very difficult answer. Because we hardly know how biological things work into the body. Can someone close the door? Please. There is something like what we call transference. That means that the things you have gained during your life as knowledge and experiences, that partly of that will most possibly transfer to your child. Not totally, but at least a part of it. And that's what we call transgenerational transference. And that's not only for adoptees, but for all living creatures in the world. Otherwise, animals could not know the things they know. Otherwise, we would not know the things we know. So there's always a logical explanation that what you have experienced and gained by knowledge, that of course, because of your genes, it will transfer to your child for a part. So that is for a part very true. That means also, if you look into trauma, that the trauma, the unresolved trauma of you, might go to your child. We do not know exactly which part. That is the most difficult thing. But we know by experience now, and also by knowledge and by research and science, that it's really happening right now. And there's a lot of talk about now. I mean, Dr. Lipton is writing about it. Franz Rupert is writing about it. So we know by now that is a fact. Is that okay for your question? Okay. Anyone else? What is your name?
I'm Claudia.
Claudia, hello Claudia.
I'm adopted from Colombia.
Yep.
And my question is, because I experience a lot of emotions in my body, how that works. Why is it stays in my body?
Okay. Why is this question so important to you?
Because for a long time, I notice it's in my body and I want to get rid of it, but I don't know how.
You want to get rid of it?
Yeah, like emotions kept in my body.
Okay. You want to know why it is there or how to get rid of it?
Both.
Because there are two different questions.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you want to get rid of it, that means that first you have to understand why it is there.
Yeah.
And before you can answer the question why it is there, you have to understand where you're coming from. So the main question in my perspective would be, what is it what you reject where you're coming from? Maybe you can feel it, but you're not able to transfer it into words, right?
Yeah, I feel something.
Yeah, let us know, please, Maria. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because at this moment I'm in a process Um, I just found my family, and before that I never knew I had a trauma because I was busy handling another trauma. So I never knew I had an adoption trauma. But since I found my family, I'm starting this process of adoption trauma. And looking back on my life, I realized I had like separation trauma and things like that, but I never knew it was separation trauma. I just survived, but I never knew it had a name.
Yes.
But now more and more I realize I was really affected by this adoption trauma. And yeah, so but your question, I'm not, I don't understand what you mean.
I think you will understand when I explain it.
Okay.
Working with adoptees from all over around the world in the last 30 years, I found out that every adoptee knows that it has a trauma. The most complicated and complex issues that we not recognize it. Do you understand? And if you're busy with surviving, and if you're busy with adapting to the world and adapting to others, that means that you get out of your body. You're not longer there anymore. To survive means that you have to survive your body.
Yes.
To do that, most of the time we try to get rid of the emotions we have. And we do this, otherwise we would feel all the pain we already felt deep inside of us.
Yeah, my whole life I was angry. Really
Anger is one of the expressions, what means that we are not able to transfer it into another states of understanding.
I was really an angry woman.
Many of us has been angry at one or other stage. It's unhealthy, it's kind of odd, but it's a healthy part, which means that you're still strong enough to get out of it. So don't punish yourself too fast that you get angry. But what I would teach all adoptees in the world is use this anger as a positive frame to get stronger in a positive way. So anger says somebody that you were not able to translate it into words or expressions. That means that you get a kind of inhibited inside thing. I cannot make it clear what happens to me, but I feel a rage. I feel anger.
And that's in my body.
That is not only in your body. It might also be part, and then I come back to Christina, right? It can also be the part of the mother who was never able to express her deepest emotion when she lost a child. That's what we call collective transference. It might be also able that you feel the tears of your mother plus the tears of your own. That means you gain a kind of double sorrow and a double grief. And that is something really difficult to hold. So your body wants to do something with it. But most probably nobody explained you how to do this. And then your body gets into survival. And your body says, I have to get rid of it, but I do not know how.
And then I got sick.
And then it gets inside. And many adoptees, we know this by research, 60-70% of them have psychopathological soma problems, meaning it's not necessarily in your brain, but in your body. Because all the pain which you try to keep, it does something to your body. So what I try to make adoptees understand, if you want to get healthy, you have to take care of yourself. And taking care is being gentle, being lovable, being open as far as possible. But also, and that is not an easy thing adoptees learn, nor birth parents, is to reach out and ask for help and tell others, I feel vulnerable. I cannot do this alone. I need you to do this. And if you find someone who's been 3 steps further than you, ask for assistance. Because this is not something you can easily solve by mind. You need your full body for it. So, very good and brave question, Claudia. And I think you should be proud that you're here to be able to express it, because this is so difficult.
Yeah, this is the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the first time I tried to do this, I think it's 30 years ago for the first time, I was shaking, trembling.
I'm shaking. No.
Like, can I do this? Is this allowed to do this? Can I make this connection with the silent contact that we're not going to talk about this? Because we have a kind of secret among us. Let's say it like this. You and I have the same problem. And if you don't talk about this, I'm not going to talk about this either. And then it keeps everything inside. So we have to learn to share, not to be afraid to start questioning things. And being here together, to hear these stories, and to be touched. I mean, music today taught maybe much more things than I'm telling right now, because it's about resonance. It's about what happens inside your body. Because you know your heart is not your mind. Your heart does this, right? Tudum, tudum. You know why? Because it's electric. Your heart is electricity. It absorbs and it pushes out. Otherwise we cannot breathe. Otherwise we cannot love. Otherwise we cannot hate. So if we understand that, then we have the necessity to communicate at this level of resonance. We have to talk about this in a way which is real. And if we don't learn that to each other, we will all keep secretly silent, right? And if you want to teach the world that we are really able to grow up and that we are of importance, and for our children of importance, then we need to speak out. Then we need to be here together. And then we need to say to each other, we do count. We are important. Because otherwise, and that is what an Adoptee wrote, and I will quote one of her most beautiful and touching parts of her book. It's from Jane Tranker, from the book, I forgot the title. It's
Language
about,
of Blood.
Oh yeah, Language of Blood. The tale from the blood, the language of blood. And she writes partly in this book this, and I hope you will understand. She's talking to herself, but from a different perspective. You understand? She's talking about herself. And then she says this. She says, "Dear Jane, you are a brave young woman, keeping me alive. I am like a parasite. I exist only because you do. If you had not been born, I would have died. People do not see me, although we share the same heart, although we share the same face, and although we share the same mind and the same body. You have the benefit of being the twin who is seen by the world. Me, I must hide behind you. I must be away from the real self. Please, Jane, take care of me. Take care of this body, because you know it's not really mine. That face you see is mine. The hands you use to eat and to work, those too are mine. You are living a borrowed life. Don't forget, you living a borrowed life." So, to all of us, it's a necessity to stop being detached from ourselves. So we do not longer detach ourselves from life. And therefore we need to understand that our body needs us. Your heart needs you. Your soul needs you. Your body needs you. There is not such a thing like you and me without an inhibited and taken self, a real me, a real you. Therefore, and this is important, therefore we need to understand that to be abandoned and adopted was not our choice, nor our responsibility. Nobody of us signed a shipping contract of a waiver for it to be abandoned for adoption, right? Did anyone sign a contract? Okay. So if you understand that, stop blaming yourself or talking that you have responsibility for the loss which started to live in your inner being as a silent killer, to take your life from you and also that from your real potential. So I claim to you, I talk and ask you to take your body back, to take your life back, to take your life back as it was meant to be whole, to be firm, lovable, present, and healthy. Today is an important day. Not only for you as adoptees and birth parents and adoptive parents. Today we can learn ourselves to be aware that not only children who are taken in the Western world from mothers will suffer, but all children from all the world taken from mothers will suffer. If you understand that, you are not alone anymore. But also, and that's maybe hurtful, you're not special anymore either. There is no princess anymore. There's no prince anymore. It's us. And if there is an us, we can work together. Today is about you and me. It's the day that you are able to take your place in the world, to take a stand because not of the adoption story, but because we have an assignment to life, and that is to love. Really to love. Nothing else, but absolutely nothing less. Today is the day that you are given the chance to take your life back. And even when you're abandoned in the past, it's now your responsibility not to abandon yourself. Do you understand that? Do you understand that you can still take your life back? And the most important message to you is, don't abandon yourself anymore. If you can do something real, then this is real. Stop abandoning yourself. So, I call upon you. I will ask you to awake from this sleep, kind of insomnia, so you can disappear in nothing. Because many adoptees in the world want to disappear in nothing. And the most extreme example is suicide. Everybody who is long in this circuit, like me and like Linel, some others here, we all know that suicide among adoptees is quite high. It's 25 till 30% higher than average. It's not the total amount of all people, no, it's higher than average. That means something is really difficult in here. We have to understand that. But also, that's for me to tell you as more important. You're also a free human being with a free spirit as it was meant to be. And that is able to sing into your heart. And then the song of the Hillsong comes up in my mind, and it says in a short notice, and I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours and you are mine. So for today, I want to ask yourself to free yourself from everything what is called the dogma of adoption. All the things you knew about this, maybe it's very healthy to forget everything. Not to continue the stories in your mind, nor the stories of others. Because you were never really adopted in the first place. You have to understand. You are born as a free man and a free woman. You are not born as an adoptee. Do you understand that? You're not born as an adoptee. You're born as a free human being. And to finalize this short presentation, which is not really a presentation to me, is that I ask you to strive for this freedom inside of you. Let's face our trauma with courage and bravery, so we can set ourselves free, so we can live by example for others, to give them a courage to be free, to live a healthy life. So all adoptees in the world can become free of shame, bitterness, loneliness, and fear to be lost again. We have so much fear to be lost again. Because otherwise, where all these tears that they come from is our deepest fear to be lost again. So today is a very important day. It's the day that we can teach each other to be solidar to each other, and to give a message to each other about love and about life. And that your otherness, not fitting in two worlds, but maybe in a third world where we belong together, what we call the third space of a hybrid form. That's why we find each other here today, this third space. And it's my message to adoptees and also to our lovable parents like Jessica just presented. Wherever they are, Jessica, they will never be forgotten because you are here. Your mother is here because you are here. It's such a day that we become aware who we really are and to whom this body belongs. To whom belongs this body? To whom?
You. You.
To me, to you, to all of you. It's such a day that we can become aware that we can be free. And I think that in this day we can dare to say it's ours and our parents alone before we become part of an other world. Because when our body is finally ours, that sets everything free within us what was present. Then we can sing, laugh, cry, joy, dance, whatever makes us happy. So what I would wish you for is to be free, live in freedom, and be lovable to each other. Because if we are able to love, it's the most grateful sign that we are able to live. And that's why I wanted to tell you this, to live, so you can be finally free. And with Martin Luther King's word, free at last. Free at last.